Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I'm joined by my good friend, Ramana Chinnakotla, who is the director of the Redwood City Public Works Department.
Thank you, Dani.
Ramana, welcome back.
Thank you for having me again.
I think we were talking water, we were talking about some infrastructure issues last time. Today we're going to focus on public works and some public service and some trash removal kinds of issues.
Yeah.
But first, what's the day in the life of a public works director?
Well, I can tell you it's never a dull day. We take care of everything that people come into contact every single day, from roads, from streets, from traffic signals, signs, street lights, everything that people come in contact every single day.
And most of your work is after hours. Think about it. When a storm hits, it's usually not at 10 a.m. in the morning. It's usually at 1 a.m. in the evening, or when the sewers are overflowing. They never happen conveniently at 5 o'clock or at 4 o'clock. They always happen at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
or when the power outage goes out.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And we're basically on 24/7, and we have crews who attend to all these things as soon as these things happen.
Right. So we want to talk about your public service. We want to talk about how you improve your customer service. And part of it is really educating the community about what they can do to help you do a better job, and in turn, it really improves our customer service. So tell us about what are some of the things that you're implementing?
Absolutely. And so for Public Works, our mission is, the city's mission is building a great community together. And Public Works' mission is to build a great community and provide great service. So all of Public Works staff is focused on this one aspect, is to provide our services that we do in a great way. So, and one of the things that we have done to improve our customer service is to actually revamp our website to provide information in a very easy to access manner. Most websites, especially for Public Works, they're organized based on departments, on divisions. So we've kind of revamped that. So the focus is more on the services that we provide.
Right.
So when we look at, someone calls Public Works or looks up a service and they're looking for a water service, they're looking...
Right. How do I get my tree trimmed in my front yard?
Exactly. So, and that's what the website is actually been revamped. You actually have services highlighted, and then you click on the service and then you get information related to that.
Right.
So that's one key aspect that we changed. The other key aspect is we've simplified the way people reach us. So we have one number, one big phone number that's always prominently displayed.
And we'll make sure that's up on the screen so people, when we're talking about it, will actually see what that one number is.
When people call that number, we have somebody who can answer the calls, and every call that we receive, every service request that we receive is actually input into a database. It's a 311 system, and we call it MyRWC City, or MyRWC for short. And this is available as an app.
Right. I have it on my phone.
Perfect. And we would like all the citizens to know about it, the residents to actually download this app and be able to do this. And now if they see a pothole, if they see a street light out, they can just pick up their phone, they can turn on the app and then input this information, and this goes into a database. And we're able to track these requests. And we have a counter that starts running every time we get this request. And we have a service level for each kind of request.
Right.
So for example, if there's a water main break, we fix it in 4 hours. So we're able to track the information, and our goal is to take care of all customer requests on time with a 90% certainty. And we usually run around 93, 94%. So that's basically how we track how well we are helping our customers.
Right.
So that's basically some of the couple of ways that we're improving customer service.
So what do you see most? Do people report most sort of potholes or street gutters that are filled with leaves? I mean, what do people seem to be most, they identify most with as far as what they want to make sure you're aware of?
So that's a great question, which kind of brings to the second topic that I wanted to talk about. So we receive about 5,000 requests every single year, out of which 20% or more have to do with abandoned waste. So
things people just have thrown in front of their house or in an empty spot.
Absolutely. So, and that's usually, things like sofas, big items like chairs, mattresses, things like that. And that's one thing a lot of people don't realize, that we actually contract with Recology, our solid waste provider, and they actually come and pick those up for you for free. So we get 2 bulky item pickups per year. And all they have to do is call Recology's phone number, and they'll make an appointment and come and pick that up for you.
So that's one way in which the app would be very helpful, because people wouldn't know, I've got this abandoned refrigerator, now what do I do? Rather than leaving it on a sidewalk somewhere or putting it in the back of a pickup and silently in the middle of the night dumping it next to somebody's, commercial dumpster. They can call Recology and use this app. I mean, give us the magnitude of waste or pounds, or the magnitude of which you're then cleaning up this mess and these bulky items.
Well, I can't give you a number in terms of the pounds, but it is a significant portion of our work that we do in Public Works. As I said, about 20% of our service requests are all related to abandoned waste. In fact, we also use the Sheriff's Work Program, and they also help us assist in the cleanup. So it is a pretty big task, and one big impact it has is kind of as an additional issue, because we are close to the bay, all this trash actually ends up in the bay. And the Water Board actually has a regulation that limits us to how much trash we can put into the bay. And we are supposed to reduce our trash load by about 70% compared to the 2009 levels by 2017. So it also impacts the amount of trash, having this abandoned waste on the street.
Well, even just sort of some of the emissions that might come off of what's been abandoned. So if obviously the mattress doesn't make its way to the bay, but the emissions from it getting wet and flowing to the bay.
Very good
The other thing I think people don't realize is the public safety hazard. So when, if you're on the train and you happen to be looking up and down the tracks, you will see that people actually do in fact find the tracks to be one of the train tracks to be one of the places that they feel comfortable abandoning some of these bulky items, not realizing that that could in fact derail a train, which could cause a great amount of trouble and safety hazards for our transportation system. So again, I think the most important message is for people to understand that these bulky items can be taken care of through a free service, through Recology.
Absolutely. Yes.
And you also talked about sort of the litter aspect, right? So not just bulky items, but it surprises me to no end when you leave a parking lot from one of the big box stores and you find that somebody's sort of left their fast food garbage out the window or left it in their parking spot. I mean, how do we sort of convey the message to people about put it in the trash can that was probably located 100 feet from you? I mean, how do you message that to your community?
And I think that's a big challenge. And I think, we have to be good Samaritans and we have to be good citizens, because all this stuff pollutes the bay. It's not good for the bay. And we basically use the bay, for recreation, for fishing. And basically that's something that we utilize. So it affects us back in the long run. So we just have to be good citizens and take care of the resources that we are basically given. And you may not think what happens to that wrapper that you drop in the parking lot, but it finally ends up in the bay and it affects your lifestyle.
Right. So. Well, thank you for reminding us of all those good tips, and I like what you said about being a good Samaritan. We all can control what we do, and we can all be helpful too when we see those kinds of situations. We can call Public Works to say we see some bulky items, or we all can certainly pick up some trash and put it in the wastebasket too.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Ramana. It's always a joy and pleasure to have you on Penn Voice, and thanks for bringing some of these programs to us and your continued efforts to make customer service in Redwood City at the forefront of what you do.
Thank you, Dani.
And we'll see all of you next time on Penn Voice.